Welcome to the Heart of Racing, mate, alongside our mates at Ladbroke. Show with a difference this week. I'm in Brisbane, of course. Why wouldn't you be here? The Doomben 10,000 Magic Round in the NRL, and Will's stuck in the studio in Sydney. How are you, Will Freedman?
Well, it looks colder here. You're in shorts and T-shirt, and I'm in two jumpers. So,
Mate,
mind you, I went to Magic Round 2 years ago. I said never again. It was just too much for me. You Queenslanders are wild.
It's unreal. Magic Round in the NRL is absolutely unbelievable. And the Doomben 10,000 is one of my favourite races. Of course, it's famous in the Breen family, Will, because it's where I took my wife on our first date in 1995 to watch Mick Dittman and Chief De Beers. Well, she's still with me 29 years later, so I did something right that day.
You set a low benchmark and it was easy to improve.
Hey, mate, what better place to take your prospective wife on a first date than the Doomben 10,000? How good. Hey, mate, we're going to start with a pineapple. What do you got for us this week?
I'm nominating a friend of the show, Bjorn Baker.
Ooh, be careful. He's been good to us.
I thought the application of the earmuffs on Passagiata was it's just a terrible piece of gear. The earmuffs.
Why? Tell me why.
It shuts off all that sensory engagement that the horses get. And I know the horse is a hard going horse, wants to go hard.
It's a speed machine, and it's a 900-metre race. Should be able to go bang.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't a 900-metre race originally. When it got moved to Newcastle, it got brought back to 900. But irrelevant. Like, at 1,000 at Gosford, you've still got to have a heap of speed. And
yep.
The earmuffs almost got wink speed. Like, that's how significant they are. It's like it's like a sedative for some horses. So I can understand why he tried it. But in the end, jockeys go out there with good intentions.
What, because she goes too keenly?
Goes too hard. You hope that it's just going to bring her back a peg. She relaxes a little bit more.
Well, she didn't even lead.
But she'd be able to get over 1,100, 1,200 if she would be able to contain it. But she's all speed. And unfortunately, she's probably just a 1,000-metre horse. As I said, I understand why he's done it. But as I said, jockeys go out with the best intentions to ride good races, but they still ride bad ones. And on this account, it was a bad gear change from the team.
Have you got a sayonara for us this week? Look, we have to warn everybody. The racing this weekend is so tricky. With the exception of the Doomben 10,000 where there's 9 horses in it, there are massive fields. There are wide open markets all over the place. When we get into it later, it's going to challenge all of us. But have you got a sayonara, something we shouldn't touch tomorrow?
Private Eye.
Yeah, Private Eye.
Can't take it. Like, it's just... The prep has been too messy. I mean, I've done this 3 times now, I think, though. I sayonara'd Marzu. I had a look at it again and thought maybe I could do it again and redeem myself. But I just don't like horses with this sort of prep. I honestly think that I Wish I Win is closest to a moral that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, I'm going to sayonara Espiona in the same race, the Doomben 10,000. I love Espiona, and, I backed her when she set the world on fire at that Flemington Carnival a couple of years ago, and I thought she was going to be the bee's knees. And I really like her, but she just does too much wrong. And at Doomben, the reason I'm sayonaraing her is she's always in the market.
She's a tease.
Always.
When she won it, I think she won a listed race as a 3-year-old down the straight at Flemington.
And brained them.
Everyone thought they used to call her Baby Winks.
Yeah.
That's what her nickname was.
They thought she was going to be anything.
But unfortunately, she just doesn't have the mental strength at times to match her ability.
And she does things wrong. I think Waller's given her an odd campaign too as well. But anyway, we'll get into the Doomben 10,000 later. So we're sayonaraing a couple of horses there. We're reducing the chances in that 9-horse field. The so simple for me last weekend was Benedetta. The writing was on the wall. She's put a magnificent campaign together. She won the Goodwood Handicap. You were 100% right that Amelia's Jewel wasn't suited there over 1,200. You got that bang on, and Benedetta won down the outside. And when she won, I went, yep, there it is.
Yeah. Jason Warren's done a great job with Benedetta. I mean, she's been an unlucky horse,
mare.
But I like horses that get unlucky and still place.
Yeah.
Like, not horses that get unlucky and finish 7th and 8th and
yeah.
they're like, oh, it was an unlucky run. you can be unlucky and still run well. Some horses get unlucky and haven't run that well, and we sometimes give them too many excuses as to why they didn't finish in the frame. So I get that. I mean, I half tipped Shock 'em over. Like we were talking about that race.
You did,
but it was just when I look back on it, I'm like, this horse has so much class on that field. Like
it was good price too. Shock 'em over. That was in the main race at Newcastle.
Yeah. No. Shock 'em over was at in Melbourne.
Oh yes, sorry.
I think Gentleman Roy. We ended up tipping. Yeah. Similar names. But we ended up tipping
Gentleman Roy.
But in the end, like Kieran does this all the time. Like these returning stayers come out and brain them in their first prep. He obviously gets them a lot more forward than most people think because he did it with Gold Trip. Remember Gold Trip won first up in 2000?
And then everyone thinks it's going to win for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, so look, I'd be watching it in its next couple of starts, but that was as impressive a 1,400-metre run as you'll see.
Yeah, you did say we got to keep an eye on it because you like those stayers resuming sometimes over 1,400. They can absolutely go bang. I think it was He's a Shocker that I was thinking about, won the good race.
Yeah, that's right.
At Newcastle, which was supposed to be at Gosford. Okay, Gates Fly. The issues of the week. There's a couple of things I want to raise here, but the first one I want to raise with you, Will, is it's all been very quiet Everest-wise, and so it should be. It's not on until October, and there were stories around, oh, no, slot holders picked a horse yet. Oh, this is really interesting what's happening with the Everest. And then out of nowhere, so Max Whitby, who's a big player in the racing industry in New South Wales, and he's got his own slot in the Everest. He's teamed up with another big owner, Neil Werrett, and a few others. And they've gone over to Western Australia and bought a majority share in the Boom 2-year-old from over there. 4 wins from 5 starts, won by 4 lengths last start in the Karrakatta Plate. I think it's Group 2, called Bustling. It's a frosted gelding. Can you believe that? It's a 2-year-old and it's a gelding, and they've paid a lot of money for it, specifically for it to run in the Whitby slot in the Everest, meaning you're not sharing the prize money, you're getting it all. Is this a new model, you think, Will?
Well, the thing is, right, so how the deals are generally orchestrated is that the first X amount of prize money goes to the slot holder to cover some of the cost that they put in for the slot.
Yeah, they paid a fortune for the slot.
Right, so they and then it starts being a split from then on. So people forget that realistically to get a return on your slot, you need to finish in the first 4 of the Everest. Anything behind that, and you're not winning. You're donating. And to take 100% of the prize money back is a significant advantage. I mean, I went through a similar concept when Bon Ho was leasing the slot for the Everest and from the ATC. And he had actually asked whether he had any horses of his own that he could run in it. Because if you don't have the favourite or the first few favourites, you're better off running your own horse to try and recoup all of the prize money. Because you'll get more prize money
if you run 7th, for instance.
That's right. Or if you run last, it's 500,000 or 300,000 for running last in the Everest. But if you're giving all that away to the slot holder, because the slot holder's losing and you're losing as well. So
every split's done different. So if you want the hot pot, you might have to take, as the slot holder, 30% of the prize money. Otherwise, they'll go to someone else. And if you've got a lowly ranked horse in it, you might have to give the slot holder 70% of the prize money.
That's right. And the other part is it's a pretty low risk play because Max and Neil Werrett can change closer to the Everest. It's their horse. So they don't have to do a deal for their horse. They can just say, okay, it's not performing like we hoped it would in 3 months' time. We'll just change to something that hasn't got a slot yet.
Yeah.
Like there's no issues there. What happens with the slot holders that lock in early is unless something goes amiss with the horse and it can't run, the person who owns the horse might just be like, no, we've made a deal. We're
running because we're going to get 60% of the prize money and we get 300 to run last, which is 180, which is the equivalent of winning a Group 2. Even better than that.
I would prefer, if you're going to make this concept really interesting and graduate it to the next level, we need to have a little bit more transparency on what the deals are.
I'd like to see that too.
Because we talk about NRL footballers, how much money they earn. Like every other sport, the transparency of deals is pretty well known. And in the Everest, while the concept has had a lot of momentum for the first few years, without knowing the split and being able to dissect those deals and see who comes out in front, it just adds another storyline to it. So people go, oh, well, the slot holder took Nature Strip, but he had to give 80% of the prize money to the owner.
Because it was the favourite, yeah.
You know, we can start analysing, and then you start getting into a system where maybe some people support some slot holders as like they enjoy supporting them. The slot holders can give some more information. You can make it a bit more team orientated to some degree. Like, I just think there's that part of it is still missing, and I understand why they don't want to do it, but I feel like in sport it's sort of necessary to be transparent.
Yeah, rightio. Well, it'll be fascinating to see how bustling goes. You know, it's a 2-year-old that's won 4 races out of 5 in Perth. It's another kettle of fish we've seen with Amelia's Jewel to come over to this coast and match it with the big boys.
I'll bet it doesn't run. That's my bet.
Okay.
Heard it first.
Can we write that down?
When we get closer
what's
to
the
it.
date? Tuesday, May, what is it? Thursday, May 15. Okay.
I'll bet that
Bustling won't run.
Max and Neil Werrett will find something else, because I don't think a frosted gelding's going to come over here and win the Everest. That's me. I've trained for both Neil and Max.
Yeah.
Great people, great racing people, but I don't think it'll pay off.
Rightio. There you go. That's the issue with the Everest. Hey, there's something else while we're talking about issues of the week that I just want to touch on really quickly, Will. News has broken that there's going to be an upper house inquiry in New South Wales at Parliament into the sale of Rose Hill. Now, New South Wales Parliament has 2 houses, the lower house and the upper house. Not all the states have that. And this was driven by the Liberal opposition. Now, the Liberal opposition were the ones who wanted to be able to control racing a lot more when there was that whole business going on about keeping Russell Balding on as the chairman of Racing New South Wales. I won't even get into that. But now they're going to have this inquiry. They were supported by some independents, one of whom is Mark Latham, the former federal Labor leader, who's an independent in the upper house now, who's actually a racing enthusiast. I'm not being unkind by saying this. He's a breeding nuffy. He's all about the breeding of horses and stallions and sire lines and broodsmares. He's like a PhD in it. It's all in his head. I just want to put it on notice that it'll be about more than the sale of Rose Hill. They'll want to delve into the books of the ATC, the financials of racing in New South Wales, where all the prize money's coming from, why Racing New South Wales is in dispute with the TAB over various issues. I just believe, and they can call anyone. They can call all the big players in Racing New South Wales into this inquiry. I reckon it's a big watch this space.
Yeah, it's an interesting time. It seems like racing really needs to get its ducks in a line now. I feel like we're getting to a really critical point where we're leaving ourselves as an industry very exposed to political agendas now. Like, this sale of Rose Hill, if it happens, has to reset the whole thing and let us be for whatever purpose. I'm mostly worried about minority governments, what the Greens will do if they become the position of power, because they've been very active on how they don't like racing. So I've been a little bit concerned for the last 6 to 12 months. I actually see the sale of Rose Hill as a bit of a reset if it happens, but I'm still not convinced it's going to happen.
The members are going to vote against it. And the thing about this inquiry will achieve nothing, but it'll muckrake.
But what, from your perspective as a participant and an enthusiast, if they've proposed having the race course at Homebush, that's the new one.
Yeah.
There's the brick
in the brickyard, which is to the western side.
Okay, but don't take it just with a negative tone just yet. But if they could produce a race course that's as big and as good as Randwick in that location, do you think the Rose Hill members would then change their tune if they got something?
I don't know. You know what? I don't think they're going to change their tune. I truly believe that as soon as Chris Waller and Gai Waterhouse spoke out against it so publicly, I just think they took the members with them, and they won't like change and they'll say no.
The question will obviously be is will the decision be based on the members' vote? They've said it would be, but I've been reading and I've been seeing noise about
A veto.
well, not just a veto, that the government can still force the sale. Like they can just say,
Oh, yeah.
you know
They
what
can
I
say,
mean?
we're
Like
going to
it
take
might
this.
get taken out of the. It might usually when a government wants to do something, they get it done if they really want it to happen. So, I suspect that's going to come up in this inquiry in the House as well. Like they're going to talk about how this process is going to unfold.
Yep, that's why I wanted to raise it on the show. It's a real big watch this space.
When is it? When's the inquiry?
Oh, I don't know. Whenever Parliament will sit next, they'll have to set dates for it and stuff. I think.
Oh, so it's coming up.
It's
though.
coming up, and it'll bubble along through the winter. Rightio, this is the Heart of Racing, mate, alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. After this, we're going to come back and preview all the racing. We're going to go across 3 states. We're going to go to Doomben, we're going to go to Scone, which is the Metropolitan Meeting in Sydney, and we're going to look at a couple of races at Flemington as well. There's a stack of races and a stack of horses to get through. But first, let's get a weekend update from Ladbrokes spokesman Tom Hackett.
Thanks, Brainy. We'll be treated to the first Group 1 of Stradbroke season this Saturday. The Ladbrokes Doomben 10,000 headlines the action at Doomben, and it is an outstanding field of sprinters. Some of the best sprinters in the country will be in action, headlined by I Wish I Win. It's been over a year since he won a race, but he is the clear favourite to end his losing streak in the Ladbrokes Doomben 10,000. He's been $2 into $1.95. James McDonald in the saddle. Peter Moody is very bullish about his chances. He's definitely the horse to beat. The early market mover with Ladbrokes, though, is Espiona. She's been $7.50 into $5.50. Hasn't won a race this prep, but she's been racing really well, and she had no luck in the All-Age Stakes last start. Bella Nipotina's there. You can never underrate this mare. She's $8.50 into $7. She was very, very brave in the Quokka last start. Bit of rain in Brisbane as well certainly doesn't hurt her chances. Private Eye's a Group 1 winner as well. He's been $5 out to $7.50. Maybe the interesting runner is Chain of Lightning. The rain in Brisbane definitely does help her chances. She beat I Wish I Win fair and square in the TJ Smith, so you can't rule her out either. Then you got Marzu, another horse that does like the wet. He's been $13 out to $15. You can make a case for a number of horses in this field. I do think I Wish I Win is the horse to beat, but he's going to need to be at his very best if he's going to record another Group 1 win. It'll be interesting to see where he gets in the run from Barrier 1 with James McDonald in the saddle. Enjoy an outstanding day of racing on Saturday, team, and it's back to you in the studio.
It's time I gave you a Ladbrokes Racing Club update. The Ladbrokes Racing Club is celebrating 1 year of providing punters with the thrill of ownership. With over 22,000 members, the LRC delivers ownership experiences across all 3 codes of racing. The LRC drives support for the grassroots of racing ownership. With over 300 runners, they've already had 76 winners, good strike rate in just 1 year. One of the highlights was Scalacci taking out the $1 million first prize in the world's richest greyhound race, the Phoenix. Are you ready to feel like an owner? Join the Ladbrokes Racing Club today. It's fast and it's easy. Take on the fun with Ladbrokes. Download the Ladbrokes app today for all your favourite racing features like yard comments, black book and more. You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Welcome back to the Heart of Racing, mate, alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. It's time for Will Freedman and I to give you winners and losers, or should I say tip you winners and losers for this weekend's racing. Of course, we've got to start with the Doomben 10,000 Group 1 over 1,200 metres. I Wish I Win, $1.95 favourite from Barrier 1. Private Eyes at $7.50, Espiona at $5.50, only a 9-horse field. I'll take you through the lot of them. Bella Nipotina's at 7, Chain of Lightning 9, Marzu's at 15, Wee Nessie 23, Steffi Magnetica at $31, and the Bolter is a restricted class horse that won a string of races at the provincials and the country meetings in New South Wales, a couple of midweek races as well. Body Bob is at 150 to 1. I think the boys who own it are from New South Wales. I think they wanted a weekend in Brisbane where they got a Group 1 runner and they go to all the rugby league at Suncorp. But I shouldn't accuse them of just throwing a horse into a Group 1 like that.
You probably get 10 or so grand for just running. So they're probably not too far out of pocket.
It's probably worth their while in a 9-horse field. Mate, I Wish I Win. Are you worried about it from Barrier 1?
I think this is the greatest overreaction of all time. Barrier 1 is 20 times better than the widest barrier.
Yep.
And there's two jockeys that spring to mind, and one is James McDonald and one is Aaron Bullock. Aaron Bullock has the most habitual skill of being able to get into the 1-1. But James McDonald has the greatest instinct of finding his way to the best part of the track wherever he goes from whatever barrier he is in. So I expect fully James McDonald to find the best part of the track whenever he wants to be there. Yeah. So I think it's an advantage when you have James McDonald on.
Does it win? I wish I win.
Yeah.
I think it does.
Yeah, I think this is its race to win. I think Chain of Lightning is forgotten about, and if it is playing on speed again, that's the one I want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that's the watch horse for me as well. The Spirit of Boom Classic over 1,200 metres is a Group 2 race for 2-year-olds. Boy, oh boy, how do you line these up? Angel Capital.
Way open, isn't it?
Yeah, Angel Capital, it's 1-for-1. It's the $3.50 favourite for Jamie Carr. Elmore Zillow, $4.50. Bitter Creek for the Corstons, $7. President for J-Mac and C. Waller, $8.50. Bozusto for Annabelle Neeson, $9. Zuna, $9.50. Rich Dotty, 1 start, 1 win for Graham Begg. He's at $8.50. Honestly, 2-year-olds, not a lot of exposed form. I got no idea, Will.
I like Elmore Zillow. I think its last runs have rated very well, even without winning. But there's just not enough exposed form in a race like this. It's like you don't know how well these horses have gone previously because they just haven't established themselves as either a top rater or not. Like you'll find some horses in this race will be flat out winning a maiden. Like that's the sort of where we're at 2-year-old stakes races at this time of the year. It's like they have a throw at the stumps.
They have a throw at the stumps and try and get in the placings, and then they've got black type against, especially if it's a filly, against this name, and away they go. Rightio, the Rough Habit Plate, Group 3, 2,000 metres for the 3-year-olds, and horses here looking towards the Derby and the Oaks. Autumn Angel, J Mac and P Moody, after the ATC Oaks win over Zardozi, back to 2,000, $2.70 favourite. Tannhauser is always in the market. It's $5. Kintyre, good form. It's $6.50. Port Lockroy, $7. Gold Bullion is $8 for Waterhouse Bot. The rest are rough, Will.
I reckon Angel Capital's actually over the odds here. I think it should be shorter.
Autumn Angel.
Okay. Sorry, Autumn Angels rather. Sorry, Autumn Angel.
You think it should be shorter than $2.70?
I think it should be shorter than $2.70. I think it should be odds on. And I think it might start odds on. Look, Kintyre was very good last start. Obviously going really well. But I think Jamie Carr is on a good thing here. Like I wish I win is my best of the day, but this is not far behind.
And then we just put it on both of them. Just back them all up.
Autumn Sun going? Like
it's a
another
sire. I know they're coming to their own as late 3-year-olds, all the Autumn Suns.
They're good horses to own, these horses that get over ground as 3-year-olds. God, they're good fun.
I know. You've said that before in the show, and it's 100% correct. Everyone goes for these sprinters. It's so competitive. You can get out to these, and you've got a nice filly or a nice colt or gelding, and away you go.
They just keep running in stakes races from the age of 3 all the way till they retire.
The whole way through. Okay, the JRA Chairman's Handicap, Group 3, 2,000 metres. Watch out here because it comes up early as race 4. Spirit Ridge for Annabelle Neeson, $4.20 favourite. With Deny Knowledge, $4.20. It opened $3.80. Spirit Ridge got out to $4.20. New Endeavour, Waterhouse Bot, $6. Knight's Order, Waterhouse Bot again, $6.50. Regal Line, $9.50. Double figures and longer. The rest?
I like Deny Knowledge and I like Regal Line here.
I didn't mind Regal Line either at $9.
I think over the odds at $8.50. Its last start rated really well. Like it was a new career peak on his rating. So when they go to that, sometimes it's hard for them to back it up, but it was just so elite, like probably 3 or 4 lengths better than anything else in the field. So even if he comes back a peg after such a good run last time, I think he's going to be awfully hard to beat in this race.
Rightio, that's good racing at Doomben on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, this is proper Brisbane Carnival.
Yeah,
now.
really.
Like, this is the start of it.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Let's go to Scone now. Now, Scone throws up decent horses. It comes at the real tail end. It's kind of post-carnival racing in New South Wales, but you've got to sort of weigh up the exposed form of horses that have run right through the carnival and horses that are just sort of having their second start and might be heading towards more of a winter carnival. The Coolmore Dark Jewel Classic is Group 3, 1,400 metres. Fillies and mares. Shadows of Love. There she is again for Kim War, $3.60 favourite. Ruthless Dame is at $5. Banana Queen, $7. Ganati, I don't mind Ganati, $9. Shorts is $10. Any old price. The rest.
I like Banana Queen. I think Banana Queen's an elite horse. Probably better than a Group 3 quality fillies and mares race. This race isn't traditionally that strong. But this is probably a fairly good edition of it.
It's not bad.
I love Kim and I love Shadows of Love, but I've played ball there a few too many times.
Well, she won a couple, and then she finished third last time. She will finish in the top 4.
Yeah,
but I don't think she'll win.
But I think Banana Queen, the track's going to get back to a soft 5, but you're just going to have to watch out. Like, Scone is a very good track, a fair track, big, long straight. The problem with Scone is they've got 19 races in 2 days.
Yep.
You know, like for a country
They have
track.
the
That's
cup
a lot
meeting Friday, then this meeting Saturday.
So you're just going to have to watch the start of Saturday to make sure that the track's playing fair everywhere. It's going to get very cut up, and some horses don't like shifty ground. It might not be heavy, but it'll be shifty because they've got their toe into it the day before.
Okay, the Hortensia Stakes is listed over 1,100 metres. They're all in here. Parasol for the Godolphin, first up, Win, and it's the $4.50 favourite. Backing up here, Opal Ridge, $5.50. Insurrection for Michael Freedman, $6. Hard to say, $8. Spacewalk, $8.50. Leave me out of Spacewalk. Iona Merc down on the weight, $6.50. I'm a bit of an Iona Merc person here.
Yeah, I don't mind Iona Merca. I like Hard to Say. I think it's already come in the market. I think it opened at 12. So I'm thinking at an each way play. I think its last run really stacked up well. It's had a really good prep. It's been up a while, so that's a negative. Insurrection is one of those horses. It could be the So Simple next week. You know,
it could win, and we'll go, why would we look around it?
Like it wins all the time. Like, why did we look? That's right. So, look, it's a toughish sort of race. Opal Ridge is probably the class horse. When it's right, it's probably better than this lot. But I want to see it return, and maybe it might find one a little bit sharp at 1,100.
Okay, the Denise's Joy Stakes is listed 1,100 metres for 3-year-old fillies. Spring Lee for Bjorn Baker, $3.70 favourite. That was after a first-up win at Canterbury. Commemorative Jay Cummings, $4.50. Martini Mama, it's going for 4 in a row. It's $5.50. Solitaire is $8.50. You got a quick tip here?
I think if I'm going to have a play, I don't really love the race, but if I'm going to have some sort of play, I would go Solitaire at each way odds.
Yeah.
Because it's been a horse that's been really unlucky, like genuinely unlucky. Finished second, been bobbed out of a finish. Like, it's just one of those horses that I have a soft spot for, and I think if it gets on a run with a good prep, it'll quickly elevate itself to being a high level stakes filly.
The Luskin Star Stakes is a quality over 1,300 metres, worth a couple of $100,000. Look, there's only 3 horses in the market. Big odds the rest, except for Amenable, $3.70 favourite. Your horse, Jimmy Star. What's it, $4.80. Tamerlane first up, $6. The rest of them are any old price.
Well, I'm going to give one at any old price. I'll put in the stable mail a bit later, but I've got one. I'll leave it till the stable mail. But
Okay.
I think Jimmy Star. You cannot follow it again. It should be. It has to be $11 at this point. Not because it doesn't have the ability, but how could you possibly back it again? The bookies should be letting you on at any old price.
So, okay.
Name your price.
Wait till we get to time to unload. Okay, Flemington. If you back the winner of the Hilton Straight 6 over 1,200 metres, a listed race, then you're eating Chinese on Saturday night for sure. Massive field. $6 the field. Step Hardy from Barrier 1 is the $6 favourite. Under double figures are Joyful Fortune at $8. Hard to say $8.50. And that's it. You got sort of General Bow and Pintoff. They're like 14 and 15. It's Our Time. Goes well down the straights at like 14. It's a dartboard job.
Yeah. again, the straight six is one where you still have to watch the pattern of the day.
Yeah.
Because where they're going, they love getting out wide for the straight six. It seems to be middle to outside most of the time. So maybe barrier one for Stepardi is going to be tough to overcome. Joyful Fortune on his day is a very good galloper. I mean, it ran in the Everest because it went so well down the straight. So probably in terms of a horse that loves going up the straight, I wouldn't mind taking a bit of a punt on Joyful Fortune. Yeah.
The Lexus Andrew Ramsden over 2,800 metres, the listed race as well. Look, the map's in great form. It's the $2.90 favourite. I want to put a watch on Lionel. It's an import for CMAR. First up after 568 days was a third at Mornington's at 650. Look, I'm not even going to go through the rest. Over 2,800 metres. The map, unless this Lionel's a decent horse for Mar, what do you do here, Will?
Well, just remember, this is a win and you're in for the Melbourne Cup.
That's why they're in it.
Yeah, but I was looking at the horses that won it the last 5 or 6 years. Quite a few of them don't even run in the Melbourne Cup. Like they don't make it there. I think the race is poorly positioned.
Yeah.
I think this race should be in the spring because you should have these win and you're ins close to the race. Like the Lexus, I think it was formerly called the Lexus, which is on Derby Day.
Yeah. It's always early on Derby Day.
Yeah, and they back up into the Melbourne Cup. It has a lot of interest. These are the horses that are up and going. Yeah. I think the race is poorly positioned. It's sort of let's have it now. Let's get some interest in winter racing. I think you're right. It'll be one of the stablemates. Kieran will win this race. It'll either be with Lionel or the map, but I'd lean slightly towards the map.
Yeah, I'll go for the form horse. Okay, stable, male, Ladbrokes communities this is for. Have you ever wanted to connect, banter, share tips with a group of diehard racing punters? Well, it's time to check out communities available in the Ladbrokes app. The Freedman stable, you guys are going well, Will.
Yeah, we've had a few
some winners.
It's good.
Yeah,
but I reckon I've got one at 12s.
Ooh,
so
I'm writing it down.
I've got in the Luskin Star Stakes, we have Coast Watch in Barrier 1. We had no jockey up until recently, but fortunately Regan became available. Regan Bayliss will ride. I reckon at $12, it should be close enough to favourite on his last run. He has to reproduce his last run, but he was a horse that had been off for 2 years before he came to our stable. And sometimes these horses that have had such a long layoff, they just need to get hard fit, like a football player that needs to play some games before they start hitting their straps.
I hear you.
I reckon it could be in for a big performance, and you get each way odds, so you can have a little bit each way. But I reckon $12 is pretty juicy.
Okay, I like it. Will Freedman in the Luskin Star at Scone, of course. We got Coast Watch from Barrier 1 for the Freedmans. Time to unload, Will.
I've read what you go first.
Jimmy Star.
I want to enjoy this.
I'm unloading on Jimmy Star.
There's something in the water up there in Queensland. What's in the Kool-Aid up there? How could you possibly back this horse as your unload?
I'll tell you why. Well, because
this is clickbait. Surely
I have a feeling in my bones. I have a feeling.
When have they ever been wrong in punting? The feeling in your loins.
I tell you what, when it crosses the line first, actually, I'm going to write a text before the race, so as it crosses the line, I can hit send to you.
Okay, and I'll make sure my reply is
ready
equally as entertaining. My unload is I wish I win. I think James McDonald on board. Barrier 1, he'll sit a little bit closer as long as he's travelling comfortably. And I think it's close enough to the best thing of the day. And I also think that Autumn Angel. Yeah. I think James McDonald could win the Rough Habit and the Doomben 10,000.
I'm going to back him as an all-up whack.
Yeah, I'm at $2.70 and $2. You get what, $5.20 or something, or $5.40 as a multi. I think that's a pretty good bet.
Rightio. Best of luck, Will Freedman. Good luck in the Coast Watch.
Yeah, enjoy Jimmy Star. This will be the greatest So Simple next week of all time.
Bye.
Bye.